everyone. I call to order the Thursday, October 15th Golf Committee meeting of Sun City West. We have all members here except one. Steve is unavailable, so he's not here, but we have enough people, so we have a quorum. On the minutes from our last meeting, were there any questions, additions, deletions that should be made? Or anybody got any questions about them? If not, then we'll have them accepted and posted. Okay, let's start with staff reports. We're going to go just a little out of line here, as Todd has something that he must get done. So I'm going to call on Todd first to give his report.
Okay, thank you. This is just real short. Just a reminder that the 4 courses that are closed for overseeing will reopen on Tuesday, the 20th. And that's Grandview, Pebblebrook, Echo Mesa, and Desert Trails. No car path restriction. Again, we just ask for you to observe the 90-degree rule out there. We will have new signs out by all the greens, cart arrow signs, and please keep carts 30 feet from the green. And there's some holes like the new green complex over on 18 at Pebblebrook on the right-hand side. I have a sign that we're going to put over there. It says no carts beyond here, because I think that might be kind of inviting for people to drive back there in that new area. So hopefully we can keep all the carts away from the greens. Okay. So, and then on Thursday, we close the last 3, which would be Trail Ridge, Stardust, and Deer Valley. So close on Thursday the 22nd. Okay? And then I handed out, hopefully everyone got one, it's the 2021 golf course maintenance schedule, and it has all the usual stuff on that. The spring notification. You'll notice summer closures for next year. We're looking at closing Stardust and Trail Ridge. We're going to do some more shoreline projects on those 2 golf courses, on 14 at Stardust and 14, also the Green Complex at Trail Ridge on 14. We're hoping to get those done. And then course maintenance days, summer aerification, and it goes into the fall overseas. So we'll have that out on the website. You can see that. I'll get this out to the clubs so that they can do their planning for their events around that, especially on the spring aerification. That seems to be the one. Those are the dates that can affect them a little bit. So, any questions? And thanks for coming out on, was it Tuesday on the tour? Thank you very much for coming out. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, we want to thank you too. And it was great. Those 2 courses really you fixed up well there. I'm not a player, but I could tell that they're quite, especially the Pebblebrook with the water and all. They came out beautiful. If everybody agrees with me.
We're real excited about getting those open, and then Desert Trails with the new bunkers. We're excited about getting that open and letting the members see that too. So, as far as overseeing goes, we talked about the heat and what that's doing as far as bringing the Bermuda grass back. I'm seeing more and more. I saw more today than I did Tuesday. And so there's still ryegrass out there, but we're going to reseed the fairways again. I'm not worried about the greens. I think they're going to be okay. It's just the fairways that are probably going to be a little bit of a problem as we go through the next couple of weeks. But we're going to keep reseeding them, and then we'll start fertilizing them hopefully next week. As I mentioned Tuesday, I was hesitant about putting any fertilizer down with the heat. I didn't want to do anything that's going to get the Bermuda grass growing any more than it is right now. So it's going to cool down a little bit next week, so we can get fertilizing, get them greened up a little bit. I'm confident that we're going to have a good winter. So, but there may be at the beginning, maybe a couple thin areas, but I think if we get on it right now, I think we're going to be fine. So looking forward to a good season. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Todd. There was no other questions on that. While Todd is just here, not that we'd set up, I'm going to talk to our committee first. Does anybody feel that, is there a particular course or something on one of the courses that you would still like to see that we can set up any other, visits, tours, whatever you want to call it? Does anybody have anything at this time? We can always do it at another time as we go on, but not at this time. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I thought it was particularly interesting last year when we went out when they were doing the aerification projects, the fairway and the greens. I thought that was real informative. So I would suggest that that be one of the times if you would want to do another field trip.
Okay, I'll talk to you, Todd, and find out, when that would be the best, when you're going to be doing it.
I think that'd be good too. I think there's a lot to see when we're doing the aerification of fairways, and we do that in April. We run through the month of May on that too, so that would be a good time of the year to be out there.
Okay. I'll be in touch with you, and we'll see what dates it is, and I'll check with the committee about we get it together. Okay? Mr. Young, did you have something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Todd a couple of questions. First of all, are we done with the sand traps?
Yes, sir.
It seems to me, refresh my memory, but it seems to me that we just did Stardust. We did the traps and everything just a while ago, and we did the whole course.
Yeah, we did, at Stardust, we did the bunkers 2 years ago over at Stardust, so we're not gonna be going back to that. If
What are
you're
you doing in summer closures?
That's the shoreline project on hole number 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're looking at probably not, when we redo the bunkers again, we'll go back to Trail Ridge. That's the first golf course that we did the renovation. I'm thinking it could be as much as maybe 10, 12 years before we get back over there again.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No, thank you, Todd, then. I'll be in touch with you. Okay, now we'll go to Pat.
That looks like my golf club.
Take care, man. Good luck. Hello, Mr. O'Hara. Good, sir.
Good afternoon. Test, test. There we go. Good afternoon. Before we get started, I just wanted to share this with everybody. Got it in the mail yesterday. Patty Stripe might be a little bit more familiar with this than most because this is a Arizona Women's Golf Association GEM Award. GEM's an acronym for Golf Endorsed by Members. This is, I believe, our third one that we received, and this is for Grandview. So the GEM Award is given to golf courses in Arizona, and I'll read what it says here. The AWGA created and introduced the GEM program in the fall of 2011 for the purpose of selecting the premier golf courses in Arizona for play by women. This program also gives a public voice to the women who we feel can play a pivotal role in developing the women's golf market, something that is key to growing the game. So, congratulations, Grandview. Yeah, that was nice. All right, so I have a few slides for today.
Pat, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How do golf courses get nominated for that? What's the
Through their
process?
membership, people that play that golf course. They go into the AWGA website, and I believe they vote. I don't, Patty, do they send anything out to you?
I never see anything, no.
Okay.
It probably goes to the board.
Uh-huh. Okay. I know Deer Valley has received it in the past. I believe Trail Ridge. I checked over at Pebble. They haven't received it, so top 20 or 30 for the year, which is awesome.
Very good.
Couple slides for today. Oh, I'm sorry. How's that? Please. All right. A few overview notes here for golf operations. The Octogenarian Golf Tournament is going to be held on October 24th. It's the 25th annual. Some of you that have been around the community for a long time, this was something that was created and run by residents, and then it's been about 5 years now that golf operations got involved just because I think the volunteers wanted to take a break. And we send the entry form out 6 weeks in advance. We're going to do tee times and not have any food and beverage, but we have 100 paid entries.
Wow.
With 5 on the waiting list. And that filled up in a matter of 12 to 14 days. So that's going to be a nice little event with new bunkers, so we're excited for that. Recently, we've hired call center staff as well as player assistant staff. That's a total of 34 employees. Call center started yesterday, and the PAs will start on Tuesday. Early November, we've got a big event. It's called the Green Team First Swing Kickoff. It's held on Saturday, November 14th at Echo Mesa. Stardust will be closed for overseating. It typically is over at Stardust. That's where we get raw beginner golfers that have an interest in playing, that live in the community, to spend about 3 hours in clinics and explaining what golf is about. In fact, it's a station type setup where there's 5 or 6 stations. One of the stations is how do you check in at the golf shop? How do you decipher a scorecard? Things are touched such as making sure you bring your rec card, how to rent a cart if you need a cart, what the rules are there. So it's been very successful, and it's the big kickoff for the year. Happens every November. Open house at Grandview. This is something we started a year or so ago. We tried to do it on the Friday before Black Friday. So I guess it's a light black Friday. Yeah, gray, there you go. But since we were under this COVID-19 situation, we're going to extend it for, looks like about 15 days rather than try to have some congregating there and encourage that. We're going to try and spread it out. But what that consists of is sales over at the Grandview Pro Shop. So keep an eye out for additional details on that. Along with that, one of the things that we're trying to do from a merchandise standpoint is to have unordinary merchandise opportunities. So we're starting a trunk show program. This one we're going to kick off with Tail Activewear. A trunk show is where the rep will come out and, in essence, share the samples that he or she might have and sell product off of those samples, so you get to see the full line. We're going to do that outdoors, hopefully. It's going to be Tuesday, October 27th. And that'll be at Grandview as well. All right, next slide is we had a request last golf committee meeting to share some information about the golf lab remodel. I'm sure you can't see this up on the screen, but this lists all the remodel components that effort we put in over at the storefront adjacent to the Grandview Pro Shop. This included anything from hitting bays to cabinets to painting, lighting, projectors, computers, hitting mats, slat wall. So it was a full remodel over there. Simulators, the whole 9 yards. Has anybody been over there yet? Okay, Dave. So if you get a chance, and we'd like to set up a tour for that, so we'll get everybody over there so they can see it. Total cost of the remodel was $15,480. We had $10,000 budgeted for a repair and replacement at Grandview, so we used that money out of last year's budget. And if you get a chance, you really do need to go see it. When we get a little bit more comfortable with number of people in there, I think you'll be surprised on how nice and what amenities are there. So this is great for somebody that wants to take a lesson, somebody that wants to play 18 holes at a famous golf course, somebody that wants to warm up or practice and just hit into a net and see their stats as far as launch, swing speed, curve, all the technical stuff. And then Dave Aaron also uses it for club fitting. And the beautiful thing that we have available to us that a lot of people don't is that we have the technology indoors, so you can get fine-tuned on a fitting for a driver, but then you can walk outside and see if it's really true. And that's the beautiful thing. So indoor and outdoor hitting facilities, you don't see that very often. Next slide. I I put a slide together for golf lesson history here in Sun City West. Prior to Reed West, and Reed West started, it's been 2011, I believe. Prior to them coming aboard, we had 3 instructors that we subcontracted all the lessons out. They touched all 7 facilities. We split revenue, and revenue to us as an organization netted out to be roughly $3,000. And we didn't have any staff involved with that. It was all subcontracted labor. So Reed West came aboard, as I said, 2011 or so. They brought 6 teachers. Most of them were PGA members to teach. They had availability to teach at all golf courses. We were hoping that bringing them aboard, we'd see an uptick in not only our residents playing, but outside play, CNP play from around the neighborhoods, Grand and Portobello. They provided club fitting services and promotion of club sales. But the big thing there was the contract was really not favorable to us. It was not beneficial to us in the long term. So the next slide, I've put together some numbers. First quarter, July through September of this year, 2020, and last year when we had Reed West involved. You'll see that lessons, now this includes Dave Aaron in here too. So lessons for Reed West a year ago was $20,797. We paid them out $18,717. It was a 90-10 split. So rec centers generated $2,080 off of $20,000 being taught. With the current setup, the way we have it with Dave Aaron and our staff teaching, we've taught $12,444 worth of lesson. Commissions were $10,114. Our income was $2,330. So less lessons and more revenue. On the sales side, because part of their contract included merchandise, their contract included 50% of all hard goods, which is all clubs and equipment, plus 50% of all bags. Now we don't split bags with anybody, and eventually Dave Aaron will have 100% of the hard goods. But comparing last year's numbers to this year, Reed West sold $55,000. And here's the thing that's kind of part of the equation here. All of these sales were generated through our accounts. So we were at risk. I'm not saying that we lost anything there, but it was our accounts buying equipment, and half of the proceeds was going off campus. So Reed West sold $55,000. Cost of goods and commissions totaled $41,000 plus. Net income was $13,880 to us. Under our current situation, and please keep in mind that we've had the COVID-19, we've sold $32,890 in sales. Cost of goods was $24,600, and net income of $82,443. So there's a big $5,000 difference there. So if we look at both the lessons and the merchandise, Reed West brought home July through September of last year $15,960 to the rec center. Currently, our staff is bringing home $10,573. And a few footnotes here. Under the current program, lessons are geared for our residents. That's who we're trying to focus on. Lessons are less expensive. Our lessons are $40 for 45 minutes. Cheapest Reed West lesson was $60, I believe. Staff working with the Green Team program, and they do it at no charge. There's a higher percentage rate of when a lesson is taught these days that go to the RCSCW. So we don't have to teach as many lessons to make as much or more than we did in the past. And then starting October 1st, we are charging rent for the golf lab. And the footnote there is the year worth of rent that we have in our contract is more than our commission on Reed West's best year of teaching. So we think it's a win-win for everybody, especially the rec center, and we look forward to growing this program. The rest of my slides is revolving around group play. I don't know if we want to get into that, Bob?
What do you think, Tim? Yeah, no?
We just got this information this morning. I had very little time to look at it.
Okay.
and digest it.
Okay. I can go through it, or we can just leave it?
Well, does anybody have question on it?
Me too.
Go ahead.
Okay, this flows into what we were doing at this meeting anyway on looking over the policies. Because policy G6 talks about the general manager having made a recommendation to the governing board about the equitable distribution of tea times. And I guess I sent Karen on a scavenger hunt when I called, because I couldn't find any of that documentation. And so she contacted a whole bunch of people and could not find anything written, nothing in this administrative rules, requirements, procedures manual about how, equitable distribution of tea times was, was discussed and approved. And so I have a problem with group play because it's not an equitable system to the golfers in Sun City West. We've created a two-tier system. We have the elites who are in group play, who represent about 20% of the golfers in the city, and they get a vast majority of the primetime tee times. And the rest of us, the 80%, have to use the lottery system to try and get what's left. And you've shown in one of your slides, it's the availability of tee times in of regulation courses. So if you look at Monday, group play gets, out of the 592 tee times, group play gets 452. So that's, the 20% get 76% of the tee times, leaving the rest of us, the 5,686 golfers who played in 2019, to fight for the 24% via the lottery. Now, this is not providing equitable access to tee time for the golfers in Sun City West. I don't know how the approval process went to take away all these tee times from all of the golfers in Sun City West. And, it's just, and to add insult to injury, 10% of those people in the elite tier 1 group, as I refer to them, the group play people, don't even live in the city, because it says that they can be made of non-resident golfers. So they have a better access to golf than I do, and they don't even live here. So I'm quite concerned that, we need to relook at this and figure out why we have taken all these tee times away from the general golfing community in Sun City West. And I asked the general manager if he would look into this, because I don't see any authority to do that. And
All right, let me just interrupt a little. Jim, I understand, I know we got you on I had gotten your email on 06. This was brought up at the last meeting about, we're going to see if we can get together with Bill and with Pat and all to see if we can work on this whole problem that we have. And it's in the process of being put together and started talking about it. So I think maybe we're going to have to hold off on it and let's put it all together, see what recommendations can be made, and then we can have a true discussion when we see whatever comes new from it.
well, yeah, I guess so, but for 3 years now, we've looked at this via the golf committee. I've been on 2 committees to look at it. Unfortunately, I was the only member who wasn't in group play, and guess what the recommendation was coming out of the committee? Group play is great, and, it's not an equitable situation, and, something has to be done. And, we're all equal members in this community. We all have property ownership here, and we all have access to the amenities of this community, except we have a group of people they're more equal than others when it comes to golf tee times and prime time.
Okay, I think we understand that, and that's the reason why we're taking another look at it, because we want to correct those situations if we can. And I think we should hold off, let somebody we'll put this together, and then we'll bring it back to the committee to have a complete discussion on it and see whether it's equitable or not, anything new that comes of it.
Excuse me, Bob. Could I say something here?
Yes, go ahead, David.
Sorry. I just want to make a little bit of give you a little bit of information about what's happened to my group. I shouldn't call it a group, it's just a four-ball. I've been playing with these guys for about 2-3 years now. Every Thursday, we try to get a tee time through the lottery, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, more or less. And in the last month, we've not been able to get any tee time on Thursday. We've been bumped to Wednesday is the choice we have. And I'm wondering if there's anybody coming from outside that's getting a tee time on Thursday and I'm getting bumped, that's not good, okay? And it's just a four ball, that's all we are. And we just can't get a tee time on Thursday. Well, it just doesn't make sense.
I think that's what we're going to try to do. Tim, you had something to say?
Yeah, I don't want to confuse the fact here. First of all, I haven't been able to see this data, but Pat, when is this data from?
This data is from early 2020. So let's say January 1st, 2020.
Well, since the COVID issue began, a lot of the smaller groups have been pushed into the lottery, okay? And let's not forget the fact that right now we've got 4 of our 7 courses closed. I mean, we're getting bumped too. I mean, you've got more people coming back and you have less available spaces and you have less golf courses to pick from. So it's not surprising, nor should anybody be surprised that you're having trouble getting a tee time right now. Now,
Right.
when the fourth course opens, you'll have 30% more chance of getting your tee time. But this is an unusual time right now. Overseeding is always unusual. In fact, all of the groups, whether they're small or big right now, are in the lottery. I belong to a group that's got 40 people in it, and we're in the lottery. We have to do it in 2 separate groups. So everybody's living under the same situation right now.
I understand that, but I'm just throwing out a question. If somebody from outside Sun City West is getting to play on a Thursday when residents of Sun City West are getting bumped, that's not right.
Are you,
okay? And I don't know that. I'm just
Well, I
are you
asking a
going through the
question.
lottery?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
you can go through the lottery 7 days in advance. They can't even book a tee time until 5 days in advance. So your request is in before they even get a chance to pick up the phone.
That's right. It goes in the week before.
Right.
So the only way
Still not getting it.
the only way a non-resident is playing is if they're a guest of a resident that filled out a lottery request.
Just to clarify things, Tim, during overseeding, group play is suspended.
Right.
So, and I'm referring to prime season during the winter, that, it's, the percentages may be a little different, but the result is still the same. The 20% get most of the primetime tee times, and the 80% have to rely on the lottery. And the last year when we went through this discussion, or it was the year before, the non-group players were told, well, we have great news for you. You can now link tee times together and put it in the lottery. Well, we're still 80% chasing a minority of the primetime tee times, so.
Well, that's incorrect, Jeff. You're not pursuing you're not pursuing a minority of the prime tee times. Even when group play was at its fullest, when it was running, and we went through this a couple of years ago, there are still more than 60% of the tee times, on some days even 70-75% available to the lottery.
Not primetime tee times.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. I'll bring you the data.
Okay, but it's still, 80% chasing those through the lottery, where the group people never have to deal with the lottery except during overseed. And so they get slotted on the tee sheet before everyone else. They know their schedule weeks in advance, where the rest of us have to rely on the lottery being successful and then being able to plan from there. So it's still a 2-tiered system.
And those groups are here, whether it's raining or whether it's cold or whatever, those groups are guaranteed revenue to the rec center.
But it's still a matter of the fact that they take those tee times out of the lottery system.
Yes, they
No one
do.
else can get at them.
Yes, they do. There's a certain value to the group play system, and that's it. You're locking down tee times, you're locking down revenue.
Why don't we just sell tee times then?
We do. What do you mean with selling?
We'll sell, primetime tee times. Instead of eliminate group play, we just sell blocks of tee times.
That's a great idea. Well, why don't we charge group play some money to play?
Well, they have a preference, they have a priority, they have they have something that the rest of us don't, the 80% of us don't have.
Okay, as I said, all right, Bill, go ahead.
Real quick, sir, thank you. We are working on this. I mean, it was brought to our attention. Believe it or not, there is a binder. I know Kathy was digging through her folders and files, and she did come up with a 3-ring binder on this problem that has existed for a while. So we are tackling this as best we can. I think, Mr. Hunter, as far as your concern goes, I don't know specifically. I understand the lottery system and how it works. As far as a fairness device, I don't know if there's anything much more fairer than a lottery pick. However, when it comes to prime time, there's one mark on the clock for 9 o'clock in the morning, and we have 4 or 7 golf courses, depending on how many are open. So that's a limited number of prime times. So I just don't know when you do submit in the lottery, how much of a window you're providing the lottery to find a spot for you. But if your window is very, very narrow, that's limiting your chances. So if that can expand a bit, obviously, there may be some more opportunity for the lottery to find you a place to play. I know I do it with the group I play with, particularly on Saturday, and I can play anywhere from sunrise to after lunch. And so it is what it is as far as that goes. And then when it comes to the equitableness, again, we will deal with that, and we hope to come up with a satisfactory policy that the board would be entertaining with. And again, we're going down that trail. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other
Comment.
questions?
Just to
Go ahead,
mention,
Patty.
just to mention to David, right now, Thursdays, men's clubs are playing on Thursday. So there is no space available except probably after 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, well, we could take that, but we're not getting it, okay?
Not
I'm
at
just
all?
throwing out
Not
the
any of it?
situation. I don't know the answer, okay? But that's something just to put in your pot here and think about. I wanted to say one other thing. I had a couple of comments at our last meeting that I had from a member that I play with, and I want to thank Pat for the explanation and going through this whole spiel that he put on today. It's been real informative, and answered all the questions. Thank you.
Okay,
Question on what Patty brought up. I've been away most of the summer, and somehow now I find out that the men's leagues are getting to play on Thursdays because of overseed. I mean, huh?
Not getting to, forced to, because we have so many people now, particularly when we're sharing courses with another club, that we can't get everybody out. Rather than do a crossover, which has been asked for several times and hasn't been allowed, you can't put that many people on the course with just a straight tee sheet. So the option that Golf Ops came up with, let them play on Thursday.
So that takes away tee times for everybody else.
Exactly.
Because the chartered clubs get to do what they want to do.
Right. Well, not what they want to do, what they're being told to do by Golf Ops. It's not our choice. Believe me, I would rather play Wednesday than Thursday.
Why is Golf Ops doing this?
No, the charter clubs came to me and asked, is there any way we can play on a different day? Because we don't like the alternating tee times. We're going too long into the day, and some of our membership is not willing to play. And we had a discussion about it. So we kicked it around, and Saturday and Thursday kept coming back as another day to play, and we landed on Thursday. We do have 19 chartered clubs. There's only 2 chartered clubs that are playing on Thursday. Those are the ones that don't have a home course during their overseed. So the reality of it is you've got some open tee times on Wednesday, because Wednesday's not doubled up in a shotgun. We don't have the ability to do shotguns or double tees at this time. So this was a way to keep the chartered clubs intact and allow them to play as a group.
Sounds like group play to me. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions along this line? Like I said, I know Bill and a few other people, they're working on it, so hopefully they'll have something soon, and we'll be able to discuss it here at this meeting.
I have a question or comment. Earlier this year, we were told that if a group fell below 28 players, they were automatically out of group play. So it appeared to me in the list that that was about half of the groups. So I'm wondering, what effect has that had on group play, and what's the future of that?
That's one of the things that we're looking at is redefining the group play sizes. With the advancements that we have with our lottery system, we've been able to attach foursomes with each other now, up to 24. Down the road, it'll be larger than that. So we're looking at that as an option.
Well, Pat, when you go to the lottery system online, it's showing 10 tee times in there, up to 10 groups.
Correct.
Is that available now?
It can be. We haven't turned it on yet.
So it's still limited to 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, with that, Pat, you have further?
No, the only other comment I have is our next event. We've got a pared down schedule for special events. Our next tournament is scheduled for Saturday, December 12th. In the past, that's been our two-person best ball match play, but that had a shotgun component to it. But we're doing tee times. It's a two-person team best ball scramble. So that's Saturday, December 12th, and those entry forms will go out a week from tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all I have.
I have a
Okay.
question.
David?
Pat?
Yes.
One thing for your green team,
Yes.
I just suggest that you spend one of your sessions on etiquette. The first chapter of the rules of golf is etiquette.
Correct.
And I know of a lot of places where, it just gets out of control. I wish the beginners would come out knowing more about etiquette.
Very good.
Instead of just going out and beating balls. And I know of one case where you say, play ready golf, a person's up putting out on the green while other people are waiting to chip. I mean, it gets sort of ridiculous, but if you could have a little etiquette session, I think it would be helpful.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, Pat, on your slide on the sales of equipment and that, where Reed West sold 55,000 and
Yes.
we sold 32,000, your cost of goods sold is 25%. So the profit is the same.
Correct.
Okay. Well, you were saying that's $5,000 we didn't get. Well, we didn't get it because we didn't sell it. You didn't have the salespeople there.
Correct. It's all cash.
Okay.
Meaning the difference is cash.
And
But
then
the
a question-
margin's the same.
Another question through my wife. Tail activewear is ladies' wear, I believe.
It leans toward the ladies more than it does the men,
And
but
so
yeah.
you picked Tuesday at Grandview. So the Grandview ladies are there, but what do the other ladies groups get?
The hours are going to be long enough that if they want to come over, they can.
So they got to play golf, go clean up to go over and,
Or just come on over and,
or pick a date other than Tuesday.
well, we thought that would be when all the ladies were out and about and
Yeah, at
Got it.
Grandview.
Okay, thank you then again.
you bet, you bet.
Why did I forget that Jim was sitting down there? I should have known.
Pat,
Yes.
I have two questions.
Okay.
Who controls the shotgun? Why are we not doing shotgun? Is that by the state?
That is too large of a group. It's congregating. So a shotgun could be up to 120 to 144 players.
Short answer, yes.
I don't understand it. If you had shotgun and you scheduled the time, it wouldn't be any more people than there would be.
They're all showing up at the same time and they all finish at the same
Why do
time.
they have to?
That's the shotgun.
If
Yeah.
you wanted to, my question is, if at 8 o'clock and the back nine is empty, or I don't care what time, maybe 6 o'clock,
Right.
and the back nine is empty, why don't you schedule somebody at the back nine until you're going to run out? You don't have to have a shotgun. You just you're able to, what I'd like to find out is why we are not trying to increase revenue, but all we do is increase expenses without raising dues or the fees. I think the worst thing we need to do is raise fees, but what we need to do is to come up with different methods to raise money.
Sure.
That
So,
seems like pretty simple to me.
so from July through September,
Yeah?
green fee and cart fee revenues are 25% over prior year.
That didn't answer my question on why I can't play on the back nine at 8 o'clock in the morning when nobody's there.
You can. You're going to tee off on number 10 and you can play 9 holes. We do allow that, but that's not a shotgun. So we have 9-hole and 18-hole play. We do allow that, but it's very limited because, again, we only allow 4 people in our pro shop to check in. And if we did an 8 o'clock shotgun, we would have 120 plus people there.
I think you ought to review it and call it something other than shotgun and don't have 120 people there. That's all, thank you.
It's called the crossover.
Okay. All right, Pat, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pete, you're up next.
Thank you, everybody. I'll be discussing only the year-to-date. There's oftentimes a lot of volatility within any individual month, but you'll see that after the first 2 months, the golf ops is in pretty good shape. Down at the very bottom, I think everybody's aware that the rounds have been much more active than prior year and budget. It's a lot of reasons for that, but that's excellent news. And the golf fees, then at the top, start with that. That's mostly reflective of the rounds played. We built into the budget the baseline of prior year history or prior 3-year history of rounds, and then the rate increase upon that, and so the increase is almost entirely generated off of the additional rounds. No surprise on the merchandise and the food and beverage with the restrictions that we've seen in that and access to the pro shops. The ancillary, just to clarify, I think most of you know this, that's essentially 3 large items. That's the golf carts, the range balls, and the cell tower. One benefit is of the one cart restriction, one per person cart restriction has been that the cart revenues and also people getting out to get out of the house have been going to the range. Both those are up quite considerably over the budget and prior year, so good news on that front. Down on the expense side, some of this, of course, is a testament to the people in this room, and Todd has left, but the shortage of staff and yet still getting the output that you guys enjoy has resulted in a favorable variance year-to-date on the salary and wages. The other 2 material items are very, very volatile. The distinguishment between repair and maintenance and landscape maintenance, just to clarify for those that may or may not know, repair and maintenance is more on equipment maintenance, rolling stock, things to fix, and the landscape maintenance is more chemicals, seed, and things like that, tree trimming. Both of those have just, they're very volatile. I don't want to look and say that there won't be moments when that could move to a negative or in future months. So as we speak today, though, they're in the favorable column. So favorable to revenue of 57, favorable to expenses, equates to the about 243 ahead of budget. So any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay, Bill.
Good afternoon. Yeah, if you can advance those for me, that'd be good. We're going to talk a little bit today about COVID. I know you're all somewhat tired and sick of hearing this, as we all are, and we're tired of wearing masks and doing the right thing and everything else we need to be doing to kind of quantify and calm this damn virus down. When it comes to golf in this summer, I will share with you it's been a tough haul for Todd and his crew. We've had several deaths within our family here as far as employees go. We've had one drop dead in the shop. And so Todd has been working and doing all this construction work, helping out with the on-site contracted folks that we've had out at the golf courses, working on bunkers and doing lakeshore improvements and overseeding and everything else. And he's down 35 individuals. Not an easy task. We've come to grips with some of the folks that are working out there. We've instituted a hazard pay program this summer to have these folks compensated for working out in 115-degree heat while their neighbors next to them are falling dead. So it has not been a fun summer. And so here we are, and the courses are looking absolutely tremendous. We've got some drone photography. I don't have any photos to share with you today. I know Todd was sharing some that he had on his cell phone today, but we're going to be having some of those mass-produced and put around clubhouses all around the offices in here, kind of show off the wares of what we have, because this is, I think, one of the best amenities this community has. And so moving forward with that, where are we going? So back to some of the comments that I've heard around here today. The state of Arizona Health Department regulate what we do. Because if we don't, they will come and fine us, and they will come and shut us down. That's not the direction we want to go. And so we keep an eye on them, they keep an eye on us, as do the 30,000 people living here. So if we open, if we congregate, if we meet in a meeting like this and someone snaps a picture and no one's wearing a mask, you know what? That's front page news. They love to see that, you know, and then we have to feel the brim for that. So spacing, good, right? And when we come in here and we walk around in public, we're wearing masks. And so I don't want to see us fined. I don't want to see us shut down. Golf is an $8 million business to us. It's very, very important. And so our fitness centers and everything else that we do. So moving on, Katie, I'm going to roll through this. This is the dashboard that you can see online every day at the Arizona Department of Health. If you right-click on this little red dot here, which represents Maricopa County, you will see a total percentage positive box, which on those box of 9, the bottom left-hand corner, or excuse me, bottom right-hand corner, shows us the positivity rate for Maricopa County, right? A few months ago, we were registering like 5%, which is terrific. Very close to opening up our doors and letting everything happen. Since that time, the numbers are going the wrong way. And so what happens when these numbers get above 10%, which this slide was put together for a workshop with the governing board about 2 weeks ago. That number registers right there at 10%. Today we were 11.9, almost 12%. So we're going the wrong way. Anything over 10%, the state of Arizona says we are a highly contagious, highly spreading county. And that means what we have to do when it comes to regulating who goes where, how many people in a building, can we do a crossover in golf, can we do shotguns? No, because they don't want to see groups of 10 congregating. And if we get snapped pictures and somebody writing in the press, hey, guess what I saw at Grandview, and there's 30 guys standing around enjoying a beer or congregating before or after a golf event, we're in trouble. George, would you like to comment on that, please?
Thanks, Bill. One of the things that we've been faced with is that if the state sees us and somebody reports us, they fine us and they close us down. And when I say close us down, that is everything. Offices are closed, clubs are closed, golf is closed, everything is closed as the community, because we are the recreation centers of Sun City West. And I just caution each one of you that sit on this committee, when you go back and talk to your comrades and your partners that are out there, please make sure they follow the protocols. Do not congregate. Do not congregate. Do not congregate. I've seen it in my backyard, and I'll be very blunt. It's been wonderful because Pebblebrook's been closed, and that's where I live. But beforehand, there were people who would get through golfing, they drive down there, they pick somebody's backyard, and they'd be 10, 15 carts there, okay, with 2x6s strung between where the golf bags are, sitting there, literally sharing beers. Guys, this is for your and everybody else's safety. And I cannot stress to you enough, the fine and the ability for this to be closed down is just sitting there waiting for it to happen. Please, please be the best person you can and make sure your partners don't congregate. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So again, our numbers are substantial. We're over 10%, again, going the dang wrong way. And, I just wish that the state of Arizona will, and the nation as a whole will get a grip on this and kind of turn things around. When things were closed, not that I'm supporting that at all. However, when the governor shut down bars, restaurants, gymnasiums, rec centers, and the like, we were peaking at about 33% positive. And that number dropped 75% when those things happened. So the masking and the social distancing work. My wife is a nurse. She works in the hospital. She sees it every day of her life, brings it home, explains to me what's right and what's wrong, and be careful. Sanitize, wash your hands, wear a mask, be careful. Okay. Indoor and outdoor gatherings, minimize social distancing, great idea. Keep your 6 feet, mask up. When it comes to the guest policies, now golf is a little different. Golf, Sun City West, and Grand are all on the same boat when it comes to their policies relative right now during the COVID thing regarding guests. We're not doing it at clubs. We're not allowing it, but golf, be it a semi-private facility, we do allow that as we do with bowling. But again, mask up, be safe. I know you can't read this. We'll roll through it. This is like going to school again. But again, this is the area that we're focusing on. The word attestation is the key thing on this particular slide because we had to fill out a document that we read the rule book. We understand what the state can do and will do if we do not comply, and we attested to the fact that we did that. Now that we've done that, they allowed us to open cautiously based on the percentage rate of positivity tests, and we play by those rules. Failure to do so means closure and fines. Moving on, we are an owner-member-based organization. We have private facilities such as pickleball, tennis, and clubs. We regulate those. We can control those, right? The semi-private facilities of bowling and golf, they're very, very important to us, administratively, financially, and everything else that associates with that, and they do allow outside play. But from the time we open in the morning to the time we close, it's a controlled and monitored situation. Unlike pickleball, unlike tennis, that's drop-in play. We have to send a monitor out there. We can't put someone out there 24 hours to see who's playing. We kind of rely on people to do the right thing. We understand that we supervise during the peak season and peak times, early in the morning through 10:30 in the morning. Those facilities are book solid, right? But after that, it's a ghost town. So again, we want to make sure everybody's doing the right thing as best we can. The Where Open sign is very important to us. We want to make sure that stays lit. And so this is what we're up against. The consequences, again, for not playing by the rules, the state can come by and slap us around, and we don't want that. So anyway, that concludes my COVID thing. I don't know how long we're going to have to be playing with this, but more than likely until a vaccine's formed or something else comes along the line or these numbers start dropping, things will get a little better. But, we just hope that everyone involved, staff play by the rules. We understand what's at stake here, and we're just trying to do the right thing, and thank you.
Okay, does
I've got a
anybody
comment.
have any question?
Yeah, I've got,
Yeah, I can. I'm sorry.
yeah, just as an observation, within the past couple of weeks, as I finished golf, I noticed a group of carts, more than 4 gathered together, having an adult beverage.
Right.
And so I mentioned it to the manager of the golf course, who happened to be there, and when it got to the clubhouse. And the comment was, he told me, that if we sell the beer, we can't break them up. So that if it's, if they brought the beer to the course, then we can do something, but I'm told to stand down if we sell them the beer.
Yeah, that's kind of incorrect, sir. It's like a six-pack.
I understand that,
You can
but-
break it up.
Perhaps golf ops needs to remind those who are in charge that.
Yeah. The unique thing, I know, and there are people that have driven by and emailed me photographs of people congregating in carts. And it's really, on that particular scenario, it's kind of the optics, because golf carts have distance, right? And typically, right now, we're seeing single person to a cart. And so, yeah, after a round of golf, if 4 or 6 people are congregating and enjoying a beverage after they've played, after it's 115 degrees, you know, and some, if they're husband, wife, they're in the same cart, you know, but people driving down the road don't know that. Carts, 3 or 4 carts parked next to each other is a sizable space. And, you know, so the 6-foot thing on film looks a little different than 6 foot between me and you standing there. And so the optics is horrible, but the reality is they're spacing. And again, knocking on wood, you know, the golfers all throughout the summer months have stayed safe. I'm not hearing of a lot of nightmares. I'm not hearing of the flare-ups. And our staff are out there, you know, from opening to close. You know, we're limiting the number of people in the clubhouse. We've got some issues, obviously, with our maintenance staff. That was a tremendous issue for us during the summertime and still continues to be. And we're maintaining it as best we can. But again, what the state's looking at and what we're looking at, you know, and again, we can get with our part-time staff. Pat, I know, can get with all of his managers, but, you know, we do want to stand down, because if we say break it up, we get met with every finger but 9, you know. And so, yes, we are telling them to stand down. When that occurs, talk to your manager and they can go out there and deal with that. But again, it's just a matter of people playing by the rules and taking some personal responsibility and stuff. So, yeah. Anything else?
Any other questions of Bill? Yes, Jim?
Thank you. I know this doesn't come under your auspice. I've heard from several people that one of the reasons that the averages are going up is because we got a hell of a lot better testing. So people are testing and et cetera, et cetera. Can you comment on that at all?
I don't know about better testing. I think there's more people getting tested, so that could raise the percentage. But, you know, that's kind of like pregnancy. You know, if you don't get a pregnancy test, people still having babies. You know, so it's but the reality is the local hospital here is full. Where they're coming from, what rooftop they live under, I don't know. But my wife works at Boswell, and they are delivering both dead and alive people over there. And so it's a situation. And so, you know as well as I do, the Midwest is flaring up. We've looked at rooftop numbers as far as our owner members go, how many people live where. We got a very high number of folks who have Wisconsin addresses, as well as throughout the Midwest. And so, you know, is that a concern? Sure. Are they going to travel? Sure. We have a lot of Canadians that I don't know if we'll see them this year. I'm told if they come down here healthy and happen to catch it here, their insurance will not cover them if they pick up COVID while in the U.S. So will they come? Don't know what our numbers are going to look like, but we shall see. So, but on the upside, please be advised that we are working diligently on the group play scenario, and we are going to try to make it as effectively and sound and fair to all as we possibly can.
Okay, if that's it, thank you, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next on the agenda was a review of the policies, golf policies. We had mentioned it. I hope everybody had a chance to at least start looking at them. And I don't know if we want to just go them one by one. Do we want to just do a few of them today and continue? Is there any preference from the committee? Okay, so, well, the first one that's listed under it is CO3, and that's just mainly saying what the golf committee is. It's under the standing committees. The golf committee acts as the liaison between the governing board and the members. The committee shall review and make recommendations to the governing board and the general manager regarding the overall operations of the environmental, golf, and marketing sections, including any proposed alterations of the golf course designs. The golf committee may provide recommendations to the general manager and governing board prior to all potential changes of golf fees. and the committee chair shall make recommendations to the general manager and governing board for capital equipment and projects by December 1 of each year. Was there any comments to be made? Anybody see anything in there they may need some working on? No? Okay, under the golf policies, we got GO1, refunding prepaid golf cards. This policy established the parameters by which non-residents may utilize the association's, hold on a minute. The association acknowledges that on occasion, a person who has purchased a golf card, which pays all or a portion of daily greens fees, will find the purchaser is unable to continue playing golf. So therefore, it's the policy of the association to allow a refund for golf cards based on the following. The amount of refund on an annual card shall be calculated based upon the number of rounds actually played. Each round shall be valued at the actual daily resident fee based on the date that it was played, and the cost of each round played shall be total, and that amount will be subtracted from the original cost, which would comprise the refund amount. Any comments on that one? No? In the event the golf cart also requires cash outlay of a portion of the daily resident fee, that amount shall be subtracted from the daily resident fee, and the remainder shall comprise the refund amount. I think that's pretty clear cut and forward. Go ahead, Tim.
I do have one question, and this may be for Pete, although he's occupied right now, but isn't there a fee associated when we do a refund? There are
25.
$25? Does that need to be in the policy, in this policy?
It's in one of them, and I'm not sure, I think it's in member services. As far as, normally, that's where the cards are being processed for a
Right.
refund. But if you wanted to add it in here, I don't think it would be a bad idea. I could look at try to find the language in membership services and present that, but I think there's a $25 admin fee.
Yeah.
Pete, I don't know if did you hear what Bill was saying, what we were talking about? Do you know anything where that is at?
What policy that's in?
The fee?
George is on.
George, you're not quick enough on that computer.
As I can, brother.
Okay. All right, if when you get it, we'll go back to it then. If not, we'll try to find out where it is. And
In the meantime, let me just share with you a quick story. We had an individual member come in with a request to upgrade a card, and not as opposed to a refund. And we applied the same principle here that's in the policy, where we would calculate how many rounds of golf you've played, and if there was a balance, we would ask you to pay that balance, and then you could upgrade to a new card. Well, this particular individual, in the last 4 or 5 months, 125 days since he purchased his card, he played 117 of those. And so, I don't know if that's possible, but he did, according to the computer. And so, when you calculate what we would owe him, he owes us $425.
he was looking for a refund.
So I think we're coaching him. Have you talked to him? Have you pushed him toward the Kachina and/or the year-round? No, that's anyway. That's what. Thank you. That's where we're at. But yeah, that's a lot of golf.
Well, I think this is a very good policy, because I actually ended up using it back in 2013. But I do agree that the $25 fee, wherever it's at, it ought to be mentioned in this one also, just so that the people know going in that it is going to cost you $25 to get a check cut back.
Right. Okay. Anything else on that policy? Okay, the next one was G2. This is the high school golf teams. We still doing that, Pete?
No, but you're not going to like this. I want to step back. this doesn't happen a lot, but I was talking to Pat that the policy seems to be just talking about a refund. And everybody in the room may say this seems pretty clear, but you get enough people that talk about what Bill just said, that they come in and they've been using a lower end or a higher end, lower end card, and they want to elevate. And there seems to be some understanding, this might be in lore, or the way people are understanding it, but it never explicitly says that the refund should be based upon what the lore is, that it should be injury or death. But it doesn't say that. And so with the lore being the rule of the day, these people come in and say, I want to make a pretty straightforward transaction of, I'm playing more than I want, but Tim or Karen will do exactly what you say there in order to process a refund, which is calculate the resident rate, rack rate, and see how much have you actually used of your fee. We'll refund that with the fee, and then go ahead and give us a difference and buy a card and get on your way. But it doesn't really say it. And if you want our help, we didn't get to it, but if you would like us to revise that to move off of lore and into actual application, I'd be glad to do that.
Okay, good. Thank you, Pete.
Brother Bob?
Go ahead.
Yep. Where the fee comes in there, it's under financial FI 3, and basically gives you a list on there, and at the bottom it says processing fee shall be $25. But I have to say, on a comment on this one, and I'm not going to tell you a policy what to do, I think when somebody wants to go from A to B, I don't know if I'd be charging them a fee for the processing. I mean, if to go up, I would just, it just doesn't make sense to me. Just my own personal opinion.
Okay, we'll work on that.
I think we can clarify it by just adding at the end of the last sentence in 2.1, it says, "The remaining amount shall comprise the refund amount," and then just add in minus an administrative fee of $25. I mean, that puts it right there. So I'd like to suggest that change.
Okay, I'll mark it down. Okay, on G2, on the high school golf teams, it's the policy of the association permit local high school golf teams to use any of the association's golf courses. Rules to ensure that Sun City West residents have priority shall be established by the general manager. Notification of use by the high school shall be in writing to the association's office 21 days in advance of the requested days, and the high school will be required to provide a certificate of insurance naming the association as an additional insured entity. Greens fees and use of range balls may be waived by the general manager. We still having high schools come now? Yeah, we are? Just curious, I never know.
Done for the season. It's Valley Vista. It's a Dysart school. Boys and girls. The girls play at Stardust, and the boys would normally play at Pebblebrook, but they've been floating around since it's been closed. So.
Is there any set time for them, or can they just request any time?
No, they play during the week, typically between 3:30 and 4 in the afternoon.
After school? Okay, interesting.
I would like to suggest that we not just limit it to high schools, but colleges also. You've got Ottawa University that is here now with a golf team, and they approached us last year and things like that, but not that we always will have something available, but I think it could include any high school or college.
Okay, we'll take that.
I also have a question. It says the rules, shall be established by the general manager. What are they and where are they? And then the other thing would be the last one. It says that range balls and greens fees may be waived. I think we need to have a criteria in there or something to avoid ambiguity that you gave it to them, you didn't give it to me, and so just my suggestion.
Currently, we waive them. They don't pay for either one. In the past, originally, is there a modification date on that?
No. April 2014.
Yeah, prior to that, they had to have a men's club and a ladies club sponsor them. And a couple of men's sponsored the boys, started ladies sponsored the girls. The rules that we go over with them are our rules, the dress code and things like that, but it's not any different than, we don't hold them to necessarily a higher standard than what you ask of our golf. So there's not a document that we say, here's our rule book. We go over it with the team.
Maybe we should just identify those, that's, what we're after, because it could be rules of, who can play and when they can play and that kind of stuff. So just be more explicit of what rules refer to.
Okay, any other questions on that policy?
Just
Suggestions?
a
Go ahead,
comment,
David.
Yeah, this 1.4, it seems to me like that should be a given. Why would the general manager even have to be involved if they're already approved to play? And, of course, they would need a card or two for coaches, I guess, and something like that. But the team themselves are going to be carrying bags. They don't need them. But it looked like range balls and things like that, we should comp those for sure. And the general manager wouldn't need to be involved as long as they're approved by the golf ops.
Any comments on that? No? Okay, let's move on. G3, golf course maintenance. 7 golf courses owned and operated by the association for the benefit of members, guests, and authorized non-residents are prominent and important features of the community. They provide both aesthetic and recreational facilities that enhance the social life of members, along with contributing significantly to property values. The purpose of this policy is to set out parameters for the maintenance and/or enhancements of the association courses. Golf course maintenance. The primary emphasis shall be on achieving and maintaining superior playing conditions on all courses. Accordingly, greens, tee boxes, sand traps, fairways, peripheral adjoining areas shall be maintained on a prioritized schedule developed by the environmental services manager. Schedule shall include routine maintenance and repairs or improvements of courses, lakes, fountains, irrigation system pumps, etc. Any alterations to golf courses which affect the play shall be referred to the golf committee for review and recommendation. Boundary confirmation is outlined in our association insurance policy and property tax structure. The golf course property encompasses the course proper, along with the peripheral area adjoining the golf course, up to private property lines of a homeowner. Okay. Didn't go up, so I can't read it off of, there it is, okay. The homeowner, these inclusions place the maintenance of these outlying areas under the golf division jurisdiction. Landscaping of peripheral area. Landscaping in this area enhances the attractiveness of the courses, retards erosion, and limits errant golf balls from entering homeowners' yards. Any requests for changes in this peripheral area from homeowners or golf committee members shall be directed to the environmental services manager for review, recommendation to the general manager. It is the association's policy to conserve water, and accordingly, the general manager shall periodically review those areas which do not come into play to be converted to desert landscaping. Use of the golf course is limited to authorized golfers. Other activities not related to golf are prohibited unless approved by the governing board. Any comments on any section there?
I've got a comment.
Go ahead.
4.0, golf course use, why is it there under maintenance?
Say that again?
Why is golf course usage part of golf course maintenance policy? Shouldn't it be somewhat separate on a policy on golf course usage? I wouldn't look for it here if I was looking for golf course usage.
Okay.
I haven't even got it on mine. got 4.0 on this? No, I haven't got it. Okay. All right, I see it's on there. I'm reading it off of here, too.
I don't know what,
And wherever it goes, I think we should define what an authorized user is and just limit the second sentence to all other activities are prohibited unless approved by the governing board.
Okay, any questions? Anybody comments on that? George,
Yeah,
has something?
I have a question. What's the ramifications for people who go on the golf course unauthorized? They have to leave?
They get asked to leave if they're seen.
I mean, not that I want to belabor the point in this, but if you ever want to go to the alternate dog parks, you can just go right on 128th, where Pebblebrook is, or on the Stardust on Aurora, or right in front of Desert Trails. I mean, I'm just saying, we're saying that we're not supposed to be on there. I hate to say it, a law without a consequence is merely a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay.
And Bob, I got a question from a constituent that's asking the question. Michael asked, will golfers be able to use their own carts, 4 carts per group, during the winter months, like during the summer?
I don't know.
Okay, absolutely. Michael, I'll help you. I'll answer them via email that way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just as a point, George, you may have seen in the newspaper that Sun City extended that through, through June, I think.
I don't read other papers.
No, it was in,
They had to increase the quantity because their
Right.
rules said 3, and they had to increase it to 5.
oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's look at G6. Administration of the golf tee time reservation system.
Perhaps we just should skip this until we deal with,
Thank you. I was just going to suggest. Yes, since we are working on a whole new procedure, we'll call it, for the policy, I think we'll hold off on that until we get something else put down, maybe something new. But Bill?
I was just going to say that's all fine, sir. Thank you. And the previous policy that we were talking about
Right,
regarding landscape,
right.
there was a sentence in there that said something about landscaping prevents your golf ball from going onto other people's property. That is not true, sir.
and how do you know that, General Manager?
I didn't want to embarrass anybody by saying that, but thank you, Bill.
I wish it would.
Bill, is that the user?
That's the user.
Just as a point on that, there's a lot of areas on our golf courses that are maintained by the golf staff that are totally out of play, that they're maintained specifically because the residents around there want them maintained. And last year, Todd put together a study on how much that cost us. It costs us to maintain areas out of play just for the benefit of homeowners that are there, about $300,000 a year.
Okay. Okay, let's go on. G7, Golf Course Liability Association does not assume liability responsibility for errant golf balls. You got that, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Did that result in personal injury or property damage occurring on any property owner's premise? In order to ensure that the homeowners and golfers are aware of their individual assumption of risk, the association shall properly post signs on pro shop bulletin boards advising golfers regarding the limitation of association liability. The following signage is deemed appropriate. Neither the association nor its employees or agents shall be liable for personal injury or property damage caused by errant golf balls. It is the sole responsibility of golfers and property owners to negotiate settlements for injury or property damages via the provisions of applicable insurance policies or otherwise. Golfers are further advised that retrieving errant golf balls from outside golf course boundaries may constitute a trespass on any property owner's premise.
I would suggest that Mr. Taylor's comment on the last one regarding item 4, as far as golf course use, may be placed under this liability policy.
So possible G7, okay.
I would also suggest that under the liability policy, we also indicate vehicles. Because 18 at Grandview, not just property owners, can be damaged and have to be negotiated with, but auto and truck owners and et cetera.
I haven't.
In this policy, just I'm looking at it, it says about homeowners and golfers are made aware, and we're going to put this in the pro shops. How would the homeowners know? Does anybody know? Good.
Can I comment? This came up a couple years ago during golf committee when some homeowner was complaining that somebody had damaged his house and he didn't know who it was, and he had came and asked the rec centers to be responsible. And at the time, our attorney said that when you buy a house on a golf course, there is an assumed responsibility that something would happen.
Oh, okay. Just was curious, since the way it was written in here. Any other comments? Norm, did you have something?
Yeah, I have a question about that. Does that absolve the golfer from responsibility?
No, no.
No, okay.
But most golfers who have homeowners insurance, the homeowners insurance will cover the damage you did to somebody else's house.
Yeah.
You might have to make a deductible, but
Okay, move on to G8, violation of greens fees fee rules. A fee has been established for the privilege of playing on association golf courses. Section 4.18 of the bylaws provides that the governing board is empowered to establish and publish policies, rules, and regulations, and further provides that the governing board may establish penalties, including but not limited to fines, probation, or suspension of resident or non-resident privileges for the infraction of policies, rules, or regulations. The general manager shall have authority to enforce the provisions of this policy. The purpose of this policy is to establish the penalties to be assessed for failing to pay the established greens fees prior to initiating play. Any owner, member, other resident, or non-resident playing golf on any association golf course shall first pay the applicable greens fee and retain their receipt. Upon demand of a golf employee, a golfer shall provide their receipt for payment of the greens fee. Owner, member, or other resident, within 24 hours following the first violation, the golfer shall pay, at the course of which the violation occurred, the required greens fee plus a penalty of $25. In the event that both fees are not received within the stipulated time frame, golf privileges shall immediately be suspended until such time as the fees are paid in full. For each subsequent violation, the golfer shall pay a penalty fee of $100, in addition to the applicable greens fees. Such payment shall be subject to the identical time frame, conditions, and penalties for non-payment as enumerated in the preceding paragraph. In accordance with Bylaw 2.7, a violator becomes abusive shall be requested to leave the course immediately. Refusal to comply with this request will result in all golf privileges being suspended. For non-residents, any non-resident found in violation of this policy shall be asked to immediately leave the course, and their privilege to play an association golf course shall be suspended at the discretion of the general manager. In the event that the non-resident violator is a minor and in company of an owner, member, or other resident at the time of the violation, play may continue, and the owner, member, or resident shall be assessed the appropriate greens fee and penalty fee outlined in 5.1 above, as if they had personally committed the violation. On all of those, any questions on those?
On 5.1.3,
Yeah.
How long is the suspension?
Bill, do we have that? How long is the suspension for?
No, I mean, if it's up to me, bylaws limit me to 2 months, 60-day.
Right.
What?
Okay, good, okay.
Just 5.2, in the first paragraph, it doesn't mention a monetary aspect to that, but the second one mentions the monetary if it's a minor.
Five point two point one,
Yeah,
that's for a non-resident found on the property.
okay.
Second one is a minor in a company of an owner member.
Okay, so then, if that's, somebody, a non-member, why can't we charge a fee if they're found playing on the golf course?
How are you gonna collect? What mechanism do you have?
But if we don't have a mechanism in there to charge in our policy, then we'd have no chance.
So you're thinking that there should be a penalty also? or-
They should have to, pay the fee for whatever the round is, or, the golf, being on the golf course.
Practically, how do you do that?
Oh, I'm not saying, I'm not explaining how to collect it, I'm just saying that the wording should be that they're liable for a fee.
The only thing that you really have, the only lever you really have in that situation is not to let them play here ever again.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't grab them by the shirt collar and drag them up to the pro shop, make them pay.
I understand that. Okay.
Okay, any other comments on that?
Yeah. I don't know if it would fall under this purview or not, but whether we have any policy as far as trespassing by residents in this, as far as evenings, after hours, before the course is open. Is this something that should be put into here with some bite to it? That any resident found on the course after hours, after the course is closed, they're trespassing, but now should we write something into this that says they can lose their, suspension use of their card and things like this?
Now, let me just clarify, I'm sure I know what the answer is to it, for me anyway. When you're talking about trespassing on the course after it's closed, you're talking about playing.
No, just walking.
So you're saying you can, as a resident, walk also on the golf course?
You cannot. Signs are posted.
Okay.
I live on a
I'm
golf,
just
I
asking.
live on a golf course. I really don't want people walking by my house at midnight. Or driving by it, things like that.
Okay, just for my own clarification.
And it's a problem we have,
You do.
so I would suggest some wording. I wouldn't know the wording on that, but something to look at.
That could be attached to wherever the. 4.0 was. Yes, 4.0 was, or ends up.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Chairman, Tom, to your point on this one, it's a very valid point. However, we can only suspend the card for the use to a club and to our facility. We can't do a blanket one. We're not allowed to do that. So, and the other part is if they're on the golf course or whatever, and I have the same thing where I am, they walk by and all that. I'm not telling you who I am. I don't care. What are you going to do? The question is that are we having our people out there at the times when we notice it's happening to prevent them to know that we're doing it? I know Pat, I see his guys out there well after play has stopped, and they do a great job at hustling these people off of there. But it's easy to say we can suspend it, but we can't suspend their whole card for anything. That's just one of the problems we're faced with. We can't because they pay their membership dues. You have to be specific to the club.
Right, but the card can be put in suspension where they can't get onto another golf course for a period of time.
If they're
Or they
golfers.
can't get into a club.
Well, you can't do it as a blanket. It has to be a specific club. That's the issue.
Okay.
We faced that just before, just so you know.
Okay, but I still think it would be good to have a policy in this regard that we can show to people that don't want to tell us anything
Right. Trespass.
to that effect. I mean, I know I think the posse will respond to somebody being on the golf course,
No,
but they,
no.
no, they won't? Okay.
We are not allowed to approach. Well, right, I'll just digress a little bit. As a sheriff's posse member, I cannot stop anybody and talk to them. I don't care what it is. As our new second organization, can I? I like to think that I can. I did it once and I got away with it, but I don't know really the legality on that one. But technically, no, you can't. We're there only for observation and to report. Digress a little bit.
I mean, Tom, to my point, where I live on Pebblebrook, I have a gentleman who goes out there and poisons the ducks and the swans every day by feeding them bread. Will he stop? No, because he thinks he's doing the right thing. Approached. I'm from Iowa. I'm going to do what I want. You can't tell me what to do. Doesn't play golf, has a rec card. If we suspend it, he doesn't join any clubs or any use. What's our obligation? That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, let's go on to the last two. G10, non-resident play for golf-controlled neighborhood play, outside play. This policy established the parameters by which non-residents may utilize the association's golf courses. Residents and non-residents can lawfully utilize the range, putting greens, and chipping greens. Controlled neighborhood play is defined as the participation by a person residing in an approved neighboring senior community. Outside play is defined as participation of a non-resident other than a controlled neighborhood play as defined in 1.2. The general manager, with the governing board approval, shall establish parameters for non-resident participation. Rules to ensure that Sun City West residents have priority over non-residents shall be established by the general manager. Controlled neighborhood play and outside play participants shall pay the appropriate fee established by the governing board.
What the hell's
Any questions on that?
Yeah,
Understand it? Go ahead.
yeah, I have a question. I don't think we even use controlled network or neighborhood play anymore.
I was going to ask that.
But what is the name of the cards that we give to the outside players? Public player? I would recommend that we change controlled network play to public player card holders.
Good, write it down. I'll pin it down.
Roll back up to 2, Katie.
Okay.
And I just want a question of the 2.0. You know, what are the rules and where are they? If we can make notation to where they can find these rules, instead of just saying there are rules.
Where are these found?
Yeah.
On our webpage, correct, Katie? Can we,
The rules for giving, that's more of the administration of the
are you talking about these policies or rules?
It says the general manager, governing board approval shall establish parameters for non-resident participation, rules to ensure, you know, et cetera. Okay, so we have rules, but where are they? And, you know, we can point somebody to where they are, or we're just gonna leave it as a nebulous term.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
there's,
hearing you.
they're somewhere, there's for bowling and golf. I'm trying to think if it's in the bylaw or another policy where it says we will allow outside play or outside golf and bowling.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up, but I think there's something in there.
Yeah, I just say that if there are, then we just should point them in, you know, where they can find it.
Okay.
Okay. As an enforcer of this, i.e. general manager, I have no idea what 1.2 is.
Yeah, that's what we're just saying. That's, it was a term that was used several years ago to try to draw in players from our outside communities, Grand and Sun City and Portobello, yeah. And it was, controlled network play really hadn't been used for a couple of years.
Okay. Oh, okay.
How many came from Grand, how many came from Portobello, all that. So the public player card kind of,
Taking that,
because at one time there was different rates that we charged
right,
for each one of those.
right.
CMP played differently than public, and now everybody public outside.
So was that neighborhood sentence taken out or revised?
Well, it's been replaced by the public player card,
Got it?
and that's that 71000 card, where people sign up for it. It allows them to get emails from the lottery,
Yeah.
get notifications via the email and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that policy referenced a neighborhood. Is that still in there?
No, that needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, so in other words, that's not used anymore because it's either public or resident, basically. Okay. Okay. And the last one is G12, golf tournaments or special events. This policy establishes the framework for conducting golf tournaments and special events on the association's golf courses. The golf operations manager, with the approval of the general manager, shall have authority to grant or deny requests and to set all fees. Okay. All right, well, I guess what we'll say is if anybody else after this has any comments, please forward them to me. We'll try to see if before next meeting, we can try to put some stuff together. I'll get together with Tim. I'll give you a hand.
What I'll do is go through and rewrite these, the outside play one, the golf course liability, take 4.0 out of G3 and add it to this. The green fees was okay, the golf course maintenance, G3 will take 4.8 out and move it to the other one. We're going to add a comment to the end on G1 minus the administrative fee of $25, just to clarify. Okay. And I think that was it.
Okay. All right, good. And let me know, Tim, I'll give you a hand with that. Anyhow. Okay, are there any other questions on these policies? We'll try to put them together so we can review them and make any recommendations to the governing board about changing them. Okay, with that, we have just a broad thing, outstanding issues. I don't know, does anybody have anything, in other words, that may have come up in our past meeting that I'm forgetting? I'd like to leave it and that we need to do some more discussion on? No, I think the only one we had was.
I would like to add something for a future agenda, and I'm not sure when, if it's next time or whether, but understand our attorneys now have a water lawyer that operates with them. Have we gotten any response or report from them as far as what the state's going to do to us?
Not really an update as to Plan 4 of the Arizona Department of Water Resources scenario. Plan 4 has a deadline of 2023, and that is supposedly the year that they are going to lock down how many acre-feet of water golf courses are allowed to throw. Initially, we were thinking that Todd was going to have to do a considerable amount of deturfing, but the feedback that we've gotten so far from ADWR was that the golf courses here were built in a time that we are grandfathered in and not going to have to face that. I have not seen that in writing, or I have not seen a signed document that says that, so we are still kind of floating there. So our water attorney is working with us and ADWR as that proceeds. And then secondly, the year 2025 is going to be the year that the facility mandates that actually kick off and get into play. And then also 2025 would stipulate that any new golf course or any existing golf courses are regulated to 90 acres of turf. Again, I think we're grandfathered as far as that goes, and that would really only come into play, I think, with 3 of our courses, be it the wall-to-wall turf ones, be it Echo Mesa, Pebble, and
Grandview.
Grandview, yeah. And so, if I may, jump back to your first statement of the day, Bob, when you were talking about tours. Todd and I had spoken, and we were hoping to include the golf lab as to one of your upcoming tours, as well as while we were at Grandview. Todd would like to at least do a little bit of a walk around to show you some areas that are not really golf playable, but some areas that as we move forward and replace the irrigation system at Grandview, which is our next big project, some areas that Todd would like to deturf, just to be able to redesign our sprinkler system to cost us a little bit less as far as the install goes, and then saving money and acre feet of water along the way. particularly on a lot of those wall-to-wall courses. So that's some of the things that I know Todd and I were talking about as far as tours go. And then lastly, if I may, the Briarwood Country Club has approached us and wanted to renegotiate their contract relative to acre-feet of water that they are contracted with currently. They pay us annually for 333 acre-feet of water that we don't use, but we have in our bank. Briarwood wanted to renegotiate the contract to basically just pay us for the actual acre-feet of water that they throw. So that would save us about 133 acre-feet a year. On average, the last 3 or 4 years, Briarwood has used what they use and have come to us for about 200 acre-feet of water. And so they only want to pay us for that as opposed to the 333 contractually. So that is a good thing. That opens up a little avenue for us for additional revenue if we can find another user that wants to and is able to use those. So that's good, and that's kind of where we're at now, and one of the things our water attorney's working on. So we do have a draft contract that was sent to us actually yesterday, and so I haven't got with Nate yet to get over there. I know Pat and I and some of our team have been looking at that for a reread to get back to the attorney to dress it up, and we'll get over there.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Yeah, and with regards to Bill said, because I know I had told Todd, or we mentioned about us, we're going to try to get out there sometime when he's doing an aerification so we can see it being done. And I'll talk with him also about setting up the grand view in the lab so we can take a look at it.
Yeah, that's one thing I know we're working with the governing board as we speak and talking about how next year's budget, when it rolls around, I think that's I think one of the big tickets on the item is the redo of a 39 or 40-year-old irrigation system at Grandview. So, and that course is scheduled to be closed next year for overhaul anyway. So we want to tie that up and get that knocked out.
Okay. All right. So let me go around on committee comments. David, you have any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to just say a few things about water. I'm the chairman of the water committee at PORA, Property Owners Association. Todd Patty is one of our committee members and very valuable. Not too involved with the rec center situations with golf courses. What we're primarily looking at now is regional water issues, and it's really concerning to us that what's going on out here in the West Valley with development, some crazy things, I think, that have been approved by the Department of Water Resources. And one thing that just kills me is if you go down Reams Road to Peoria Avenue, there are 2 bottling plants down there still under construction, one for Red Bull, one for White Claw. And where are they going to get their water, okay? The same water we're using. And all these developments, there's about 6 of them approved out in Surprise west of Vistancia. Everybody's drawn from virtually the same aquifer, okay? And it's not going to happen today. We're looking at maybe 10 years down the road when the water table starts to drop some. Our water wells, we can forecast, I can't forecast, but somebody can forecast, that, you know, the water table is going to drop. Okay, our wells are about 1,000 feet deep around here. We're pumping from 500 feet, and we're going to have to lower the pumps, okay? You lower the pumps, that's expensive. We're going to, but it's a future thing. It's not today, okay? We're all right today, no sweat today, but millions of people are moving in here, a couple of million in the next 5 or 10 years in the West Valley. I'm talking about West Valley, because they get this 100-year assured water availability for each subdivision that's being built. And who sets that? You know, we're trying to find out what's going on. It's the developer supposedly shows the Department of Water Resources they have a 100-year supply for this development that they're putting in. And, okay, it's approved, but is their water the same as our water? I mean, and the neighbor's water? And if I'm down there, and actually I'm if you know Marley Park and Surprise, they're just north of these two bottling plants. Well, Marley Park got permission to develop with their 100-year water supply. Now we got two bottling plants right next door to them. That changes the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing changes. So I'm not getting a lot of answers, but I've been communicating with the Department of Water Resources, and mostly about future, and not today. And one of the questions that comes up is, if we get into this management plan number 5, which has some severe restrictions on golf course water allotments, are we being penalized so they can build plants? Have you seen the next proposal from Glendale for this Crystal Lagoon? This monstrous lake they're gonna put in down there with shops all around it. I mean, okay, are we having to sacrifice our golf course water so they can have water? I mean, it's just all kinds of questions. And I don't have an answer, okay? I'm just saying that's where we're trying to work on stuff like that. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you, David. Norm, anything? Pat? Tim, anything further, Tim?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Further over, anything?
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that someone is willing to look into the group play and try and sort that out.
Okay, Tom? No? Okay, any of the guests, do we have any comments?
One, Bob.
Yeah, I know.
Please,
Yours bid is Jim.
please, members of the committee, you're going out to represent the recreation centers and the golf committee. Remind your constituents, please, wear a mask, social distance. Make sure that they are not the picture child or poster child for being non-compliant. That's all I ask, because we are a community with people who are slightly at risk. Please protect your partners. Thank you.
Okay, if nothing else, then we'll adjourn the meeting till our next meeting, which is November 12th.